Anyway, while we're waiting for the slides to come up, I just want to thank the Sachs organization for giving us this opportunity to tell you a little bit about what we do. I realize now that after this earlier session here, we are in a very difficult spot, because I hope that can bring you a little more optimism than what we heard in these very educative discussions we had earlier. So what I would like to talk to you about today is tell you a little bit about what we do and what we are and how we are trying to support the whole ecosystem of startups and investors alike to build breakthrough technologies in Europe. So as Leonard said, I'm Christina. I would not say that I'm managing the accelerator in EIT Health, but I'm the head of asset management in our new entity called Invest Health. And I'm very happy to tell you a little bit about what that is all about, because I think it's very relevant for this audience we have here today. So talking a little bit about what EIT Health is for those who don't know. So we are a community of health innovators centered around 3 pillars. So we believe that the best innovations happens in the triangle between science, education, and research, and trying to build a more collaborative ecosystem around that. We have partnered up with more than 280 organizations, some of which you can see here. We have partners that are strong partners in the corporate world with, for example, some of the names you can see here: Roche, Sanofi, Bayer, and Biogen, just to name a few. But we have also believed that, as innovation often happens at the more academic centers, we have partnered up with some of the strongest universities around Europe to really be at the forefront of where innovation happens and build a bridge into the corporate world that can help grow these and take them all the way to the market. So we have a true pan-European access. We have a central office located in Munich, but we have regional access in all across Europe to really tap into the local ecosystems, both in terms of corporate and investor bases, but also looking into universities. And it's with that unique approach that I believe that we have built the strongest healthcare network in Europe. And we are continuously expanding our network, so if you are not part of it yet but want to be, we are very welcome, and that's like the purpose of the discussion and this keynote talk today. We are organizing this event, and we are very interested in contacting you and helping you build that forward. Needed to say that we are funded by the European Commission under the Horizon Europe grant, so our mandate is to support and advise companies, investors, and corporate businesses alike to help on a long-term mission to create a more sustainable healthcare environment in Europe and globally to the benefit of all of us. So how can we help you? So we have built a suite of offerings around several different layers, both targeting small startups, investors, corporates, and citizens and patients alike. So we have built offerings around the educative perspective of learning new skills, teaching young entrepreneurs how to build businesses. We have a large network that all works through expert advice, tapping into an expertise or a network of experts who've done there, been there, and know the system very well. We have created several packages aware of the challenges that this ecosystem is facing. We have created several offers that targets the whole point of access to finance, to help companies gain access to capital, and not just easy capital, we heard that earlier in the talk, but actually smart capital that can help them on the long-term mission to become a successful innovative startup. And as a new thing, we are trying to enforce also the other side of the value chain, now, namely the investors, to give investors access to a qualified deal flow of new innovative and breakthrough technologies. We have been in existence since 2016, so we are in the 8th year now, more or less, of actual implementation. And we have, as I said, tried to design our offices with the mandate from the European Commission through Horizon funding to basically try to build a suite of offerings that can target some of the challenges that we are facing here in the healthcare industry. And that is, we all know the complexities of developing product in a very regulated environment that ensures, that requires clinical validation. And to ensure safety and efficacy. We also all know, I think, are very well aware that lots of this can be facilitated by networking, tapping into experts, tapping into financials, investors who can help you build a strong plan, because there's a very long time to market and actual revenue generation. This involves obviously spelling out your IP, spelling out your USP to build a strong competitive position that could be interesting for investors and to build a more investable case. We also have several initiatives that surrounded about resources, tapping into resources that can help grow your company, building competencies within your company, but tapping into that from a European perspective to try to ensure that the innovation stays in Europe to the benefit of the whole world. So, namely, for the purpose of the talk today, I'm talking a little bit about the accelerator, and then I will move into the new entity that we're building called Invest Health. But just to keep it very short, we have built kind of a bundle our activities into an entry track, which is very in the company creation, company ideation space. We have several programs, some of more educative nature and some of a more co-creative nature. For more mature companies, we have built the so-called scale-up track, which involves access to markets. We all know that the European ecosystem is very fragmented and you need expert advice to tap into new markets. So we have built offers around that. We are also leveraging, obviously, the partner organization that we are, the strong corporate partners we have on board, to kind of be part of the whole innovation process from early on, to kind of align incentives and initiatives. So we have a couple of programs around that. And then as a new thing, we are opening up the whole Open Innovation Program, which I'm sure you're all aware of, a very powerful thing if it's put out and executed properly. And I think we are in a perfect situation to do so, partnering up with our community to basically call for innovation in a setting where the partners are part of it from the very early on. So of today's discussion, I want to focus a little bit on the new angle that we are trying to build, and this is basically bundling all the access to finance activities into a new entity to keep a focus on servicing companies and investors alike, trying to build alignment between stakeholders early on, and to build an offering. Both we have done that very successfully in the past, servicing companies and helping them grow, but also now tapping into the whole community of investors and trying to build opportunities that don't only help their companies, their portfolio companies, but also could help them in getting access to a qualified deal flow. So there's a lot of innovation going on in Europe. It's a lot of early stage. There's a lot of rough diamonds and hidden jewels out there. But I would also challenge to say that there's also a lot of dead horses in the stable, and the challenge for investors, I think, is to find the right one that fits their investment thesis, and the right one that has the strategy and the development plan to really go all the way. So in this accelerator, we've been very successful. Just in the last year, I wanted to highlight a few KPIs that are obviously very important for us in our mandate. So we've supported more than 250 companies in 2021 that have gone on to raise more than 450 million while remaining in Europe. As I mentioned, and I'm not going to focus on that, we have also developed programs that target more the general audience, the patients and the citizens alike, through educational services, and building consortium projects with our partners that tapping into implementation of innovation directly at the point of care institutions. So talking a little bit about the new entity, Invest Health, with the focus of access to finance, it's really cornerstone in two of our very successful programs that we run within the accelerator. And this initiative is in principle meant to build a little bit more economies of scale and doing that in a very efficient way. Now, economies of scale is always very challenging because you don't want to scale it too much and make it too broad. You still have to be very selective, but I do think that there's a strong market out there and there's room to scale this to really deliver something that could be of value to both companies and investors. So the purpose of Invest Health is to deliver breakthrough technologies to Europe, and obviously in Europe, and to the benefit of the whole world. And we want to do that. Our vision is to help young startups build very strong business cases that can help them develop and scale faster, and eventually achieve rates that are similar to what we see in the US and Asia. And we do that by working with both the companies and the investors, and bring them together at the same table very early on, and ensure that the strategy for doing that is aligned from the very beginning, and that the scientists that comes with the great innovative ideas, they have a deep understanding of what it requires to go all the way. I want to take the time to talk a little bit about GoTrack. So GoTrack is a very successful program that we have operated for the last 3 years. And it's really designed to address 3 of the shortcomings that we believe we see in the European ecosystem, which is access to capital, access to experience, and access to exit. So we heard a little bit about today some of the challenges about access, the market situation in general, but in particular in Europe, because I think that we have a very small IPO window in Europe compared to the US. So the strategy for building your company all the way to exit is obviously a little bit different. So what we do in this GoTrack program, it's really a mentorship and support program where we leveraging, a small group of key experts that have been very successful in the past, and that have built experience and knowledge to navigate the path to success. And they are committed to supporting European startups and doing it in Europe, and sharing some of the knowledge that they have gained. Most of them had gained this knowledge in the US, actually. So coming a little bit with an American mindset, maybe, and try to help European companies think big and bold from the very beginning, and try to build a clear strategy and a strong value creation plan very early on. And we do that not only for providing strategic advice, but we also take the companies, with the companies together, we take the strategic advice and try to distill that, translate that down to workable and actionable work streams that we then work with the companies over a 12-month period to really execute on, to ensure that they actually progress along the value creation plan and not just have activities that don't bring them forward. We also help, this involves scaling, tapping into resources, and providing, as I said, the executional experience either in the team or by externals. And in doing so, we believe that we can help the companies take very strong science and build it into more investable cases, which is of interest, of course, for the companies to develop, but also for the investors in this room who may be interested and looking for new companies to invest in. So we've been very successful, as I said. We've operated the program over the last 3 years. We supported 35 companies, and they have gone on to raise more than 400 million in the last 3 years. This is quite significant, considering that we are normally targeting post-seed, pre-Series A companies across a broad range of sectors, so both digital health, medtech, and biotech, therapeutics, and diagnostics. So I think it's quite a substantial amount of money that has been raised post our support. They have all collatedly achieved a 2.7x increase in valuation over this period. And we are very proud that we have supported 3 companies in achieving an exit in the last 2 years. So 2 companies exited significant deals last year, and we had just had one company, a German company, that was sold to Exact Sciences here this summer. So I think we have validated our model very well, and we are now building strength within Invest Health to scale this model. Another cornerstone of that, and then I will unite the two in the end, is the Venture Center of Excellence. And that is really a partnership with European Investment Fund, which you will hear more about in the next panel session. But it's really an attempt to try to build a community, both coming with taking the strength of our 2 organizations together, so the EIF obviously has a very strong position in the private equity markets. They are basically 100% market visibility. They are part of most of the big Europeans and many of the smaller ones. So they have a really strong access to the private equity market. Obviously they have a lot of capital at hand to deploy. We have access to, through our community of strong corporate partners who is willing and very interested in engaging and joining the innovation cycle very early on. And what we are trying to do with this instrument is building a community where these two parties, or all parties in the ecosystem, basically align on joint incentives to to reach, tap into earlier exits and try to ensure that the development always goes along the shared incentive. So the whole structure was enabled by an anchor investment of 150 million by the European Commission that allowed us to set up a financial vehicle of leveraging more than 2 billion euros, which is of great impact to investors and small companies alike. We have, within this mandate, we have built a network of more than 35 private investor funds, and 9 of these have been selected to be a direct beneficiary of the financial vehicle. Into that, as I mentioned, the important part is that we have also brought corporates on board who also have invested as LPs in the financial vehicle. And the idea is really to make sure that we can offer later stage financing in larger round through a consortium of strong players. In doing so, we have tapping into what I talked about earlier in the Gold Track program, is to really provide services also to companies to ensure that the companies that we put forward, that we qualify as a potential deal flow candidate, is actually in the position to do so. So they have already built a strong value case. They have looked into the competitive market, and they are actually an investable case for an investor. So this program has been running for real operational for approximately 12 months. We are highly selective. We already went through, assessed more than 150 companies. 21 of these have been selected to continue into the program, and the selection is based on what our community needs and wants. So it's really about aligning interest here. The bigger the community is, the more companies we can serve, but keeping it selective, so we're only taking what we believe are the best and the one that has the real potential. 8 of the companies of the 21 companies are now actively fundraising within the financial vehicle, but also among the associated community of investors. 3 of them are actually here at the Sachs Forum, so some were joining yesterday and some are joining today. I encourage you to reach out and talk to them. They are all very interested. And now coming in and kind of capturing this into a scalable model that we call Invest Health, we want to set up a structured process, a 3-step process, where we can support companies and deliver deal flow to investors. This is we call it a diagnose, develop, and execute process. So it's basically trying to tap in to first understand where the company is, what they can do, where they are, where they want to go, and what they need, and then try to help them close any gaps that they may have. Most companies come with something, they think they're ready, but then you get corporate people on board and they see challenges that they don't like. We get investors on board and they may say we need a little bit of risk minimizing here and there. This is something we can provide in the mandate that we are operating under our funding scheme, and we can also do more soft touch as needed, and that allows us to really deliver a qualified deal flow to the investor base that is matched with their interest and their investment thesis. So on the right side, you hear some of the companies here, just the logos of some of the companies that are here at the Sachs Forum today. And some of them, a selected few of them, had the chance to present yesterday in one of our afternoon sessions. Most were in the medtech field, so maybe not so relevant for some of you here. But nevertheless, if you have any interest in hearing more, you are happy to tell you more or try to see if you can find them around. Just closing up, I wanted to also bring a little bit of an outlook of what we continue and how we plan to expand on this. So you're probably very well familiar with the Horizon Europe scheme and all the EI access in Europe. So there are various ones and they're all very complicated, but there's, I'm sure you all heard about the EIC Accelerator, which have a large pool of money available to basically support startups, both dilutive and non-dilutive funding, and we have built a fast track together with them to basically ensure that companies that are selected within the EIT Health funding scheme, that they can fast track into assessment from the EIC that can provide grant money, non-dilutive grant money to support innovations, but also possible leverage any private investments through their blended financing models. I also told you about the EIF partnership that we have developed, and that is really a partnership to kind of support the more capital-intensive rounds before the end of what we heard earlier today. And in doing so, we're also tapping into, obviously, the whole EIB system, because EIF is operating under the mandate of EIB, to tap into that and build more debt solutions for real growth capital in Europe. We have further smaller initiatives that are ongoing, and they are all following the new European Innovation Agenda that was just published by the European Commission. With a strong continuing mandate from all the nations in Europe to support innovation in Europe and creating a very strong fundamental basis for European companies to grow. Just as Invest Health in a nutshell, this will be my last slide. What we can offer you as a startup is we can offer you support by delivering bespoke services through our large network of experts. We have validated most models and have done so very successfully. And in doing so, we can help you shape you up and make you deal ready. For investors, we can help you tap into a rich source of qualified deal flow. We are very keen on hearing what you want and what you're looking for, and we can try to target any deal flow that you would be interested in, so that you don't have to look through masses of pitch decks, but you only have to focus on the one that really makes sense to you. I'm happy to take any questions, and I'm happy to tell you more over coffee or whatever. You can reach out to me. You can find me around. I have lots of open meeting slots. If you want to hear more, you can tap into me over coffee, or you can reach out to me by email or some of my colleagues. Thank you very much.